Okay, we got some parts. Hopefully make the header height control work. When I get a spring off, when I get one of the springs that's on it off, I'll lay them side by side. You can really see how big of a difference there is, but these things are massive compared to the ones that are on it. So yeah. But I got the updated spring locks, got the springs, got the rear pins. It looks like they gave me the front pins, but I'm just going to reuse mine. But you had to get the rear pins because obviously when this frame goes all the way back here, they get longer. So nothing to it but to do it. So here's the difference. That's pretty significant. They went from a 1/2 inch wire to it's either 5/8 or 3/4. It's pretty massive. They're the same length, and they went to a bigger outer diameter altogether. So yep. Okay, I got the easy one done. This is the one that I should have got on camera because the other one kind of sucks because you got to deal with the damn header lock. But anyway, I'll set you up right here. You want to be able to see pretty much everything. Go around the other side. All right, hang on. Neighbor's dog just showed up. All right, sorry about that. The neighbors across the yard here have a pit bull, and she is about the most opposite of your stereotypical, you know, everybody thinks, oh, pit bulls are fucking mean dogs. That dog right there is the biggest teddy bear oaf goofball you've ever seen in your life. And she came over probably been 2 weeks ago now. She came over here for the first time, and she found Teeter, and now her and Teeter are like best freaking friends. So now she comes over here all the time when Teeter's around. But I mean, we watched them play the first time just because, you know, pit bulls, they might not always do it to be mean, but when they play, they tend to bite, and when they bite, they lock their jaw just because that's what they're bred to do. They're meant to be protection, or like guard dogs. But she doesn't even attempt to use her mouth. She's just, like I say, she's the sweetest damn thing you've ever met in your life. But she's been around, they got kids, and they got 2 other German Shepherds, so she's real well socialized to begin with. Yeah, I'm stuck. Which people can say what they want about pit bulls. I don't care if it's a pit bull, I don't care if it's a lab, I don't care if it's a chihuahua. Any breed of dog is capable of being man's best friend, and any breed of dog is capable of being hell on earth. It all depends on how you raise them and how you treat them. And let's face it, the vast majority of people that own pit bulls, no, I shouldn't say that, that's being unfair, but a lot of people that own pit bulls probably shouldn't be dog owners. Because you look at the conditions that a lot of them dogs are in, they're the ones that make the news for attacking kids and shit, are in, they're just not in good situation for pets. And it's not, I never think it's the dog's fault. Every time something stupid like that happens, I blame one, or I put 100% of the blame on the owner. Because them dogs aren't doing anything that they were not trained or not trained to do. It's, yeah. I think that breed gets an unfair rap. But anyway, we're working on a combine, so pin, arms, yeah. Okay, and then we got this washer. Alright. Let go, you bastard. What the f... There we go. I almost thought about dropping the head to do this, but I was like, you know, no matter what, I'm gonna be lifting a bunch of weight, and it can be easier down on the ground because then I can sit and help support myself with my legs. And I figured if it's gonna be on the ground anyway, there's no sense in taking the head off and making a bunch more work, so I just left the head on. Now, the fun part is wrestling this damn headlock back in, which might be easier if I'm in here. It's a good thing I'm small. You know, it might just make my life easier if I just took that thing off the pin. It wasn't bad with Dad here, but with just one person, that's a lot of weight to try to juggle. Okay. Let's do it here. Well, that was way too damn easy. Come on, back in your hole. Rock roll. Well, I guess it's got to be on top, because I ain't got enough flex in it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so since these springs came off of a 7300, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that everything was set up fairly close to where it needed to be, so we are going to leave it like this for a minute and we'll try it and see what it does and go from there. So I got my gauge hooked up, set her down and put her into float, see what happens. Okay, make an adjustment, see if we can get it any better. Okay, so I actually managed to get the header height working. I still don't have it adjusted quite right, because in the process of doing all this, I figured out, well, I guess back up. First thing I figured out was they had these things assembled backwards. They had these angles flipped over. And because these are 1-inch increments, and then back here, if you start using these holes, you can get 1/4-inch increments. So I wanted to start using it, or start adjusting it with these holes back here, so I could dial in on it, because this is like a rough adjustment and this is like a fine adjustment, I guess, if you want to call it that. Well, the way they had it, they were using it, had these holes back here, and the way it was, you couldn't move it back and forth. That was the only holes that fit. So I went and looked in the book. It's like, oh, they're supposed to be flipped over with the long set of holes back here and the short set up front. So got those adjusted right. And it's still not as low as it should be. I got it down to about 300 psi. Which is a lot better than what it was. I damn near got it cut in half, but I don't want to go much further than that, because I have the springs collapsed pretty far to get to that, but there's still enough room that the head can keep going down if it needs to. But anyway, the other thing I found out, I couldn't figure out why there wasn't a whole lot of stroke in the floating bar. Well, come to find out, these are your stop chains. They're supposed to be 8 links. These only have 6. A couple of them have these chitty repair links that got you down to 8, but they're not really heavy. So before I do too much more adjusting and get it dialed in, because I couldn't figure out why, when the head was all the way down, these brackets were damn near sitting down on the damn ground. I was like, this don't make a whole hell of a lot of sense, because that's a good way to drag trash. Well, that's because the cutter bar's not going down as far as it's supposed to. And I couldn't figure out, because these are leaf springs, and when these are tensioned right, you're supposed to have about a 1/4 inch. The book says you're supposed to have about a 1/4 inch of slack in the chain. Well, I've got those things drawn up as tight as they can, and this is the only chain that's got slack in it. Well, that's because all the chains are too short. So I got to get new chain. I need 4 pieces, 8 lengths long, to get the cutter bar down where it's supposed to be, and then we should be kosher. And then I should be able to go through and finish the setup on this and get the header height adjusted where it's supposed to. But it is working, so that's slick. And once I get the bar where it's supposed to be, I might have to adjust some springs a little bit more too, because that's going to change the position of where the head is and working in working position. And I'm probably going to have to readjust this, because that's going to lower the whole bar, so it's going to rock this back some. So I have to do a little bit more adjusting once I get them chain links, which I got to run the TSC anyway and get some more ATF for this thing. So there's that. My chopper belts, according to the tracking number, are in Illinois right now, so those should be here hopefully. See, tomorrow's Friday. I gotta believe they'll be somewhere in Michigan by Friday, possibly down in South Bend. And so hopefully my chopper belts show up on Monday. Hopefully they're the right ones. I ordered them a C148, which is C cross section 7/8 belt 148, but the dimensions of a C148 are 7/8 by 152, and according to the measurements we took, I needed a 152-inch belt, so hopefully that's right. If not, I'm gonna have to go somewhere else. But I got both belts for 50 bucks. Anywhere else, like a dealer or anything, one belt's like 100 and something bucks, so I took a chance on it. We'll see what happens. And when they actually get here, if they are the right belts and if they're decent, I'll tell you where I got them. But until I know it's legit, I don't want to say where I got them. So when they get here, I'll tell you where I got them if I trust the place. So yeah. Anyhow, I think I'm going to call her quits for today, and we will probably revisit this thing Friday afternoon, because tomorrow I really need to get the yard mow to put it off for 2 weeks, and it's getting kind of shaggy. I almost need to get the hay mower out. So anyway, we'll catch you guys here in a couple evenings. Okay, finally gonna get this thing ready to go today, and none too soon, because probably by this weekend might be cutting beans. I know I haven't tested the moisture yet, but I think that corn down there is ready, because the ears have been dropped for like a week and a half. It's all senesced, it's all dead. There's been a bunch of guys started shelling corn this week. A bunch of guys started cutting beans, so it's that time. I don't have anything that's to the point where I'm like, oh shit, I'm behind yet, but it's time to be ready. So, but I worked on this last night. It's kind of been a rough few days because my uncle ended up in the hospital and he needed hay made, so I've been trying to take care of that. We're gonna get it raked and baled yet this afternoon, but I got a video of that's all gonna happen, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But needless to say, I've been getting kind of sleep deprived for the last 2-3 days, and I crashed today, and I woke up kind of late. I still managed to get before 9 o'clock, but I needed it because yesterday I felt like I didn't like feel tired, but my head was all stuffed up and crap, and today I woke up and I was fine, but I slept long, so apparently I just needed to sleep, which ain't a bad thing, because if I'd have made myself sick right before harvest, I'd have been kind of pissed. So anyway, I got the new lockup chains put on the head. It's got 4 chains on it. All of them were different style chain, or at least different size chain, and they were all different lengths because they were different size chain. So I couldn't figure out why the cutter bar would never sit level. Well, that's why I changed all the chain, and I had this tire was about 2 pounds lower than the other tire, so it was sitting like this. So I got aired up the front tires in the combine, got all that taken care of, put the new chains on. Bar sits level. It's actually got the ass end of the head up off the ground because it's down where it belongs. Although I did find one original chain, and it's not. I got 5/16 chain because that was what was down on this end, and it was easiest to see. Well, I took the one down off the far end, and it was an original chain. It was like it wasn't an oval link like you think this being an oval. It was an oval link, but it was like fatter. It was like in between an oval and a circle, that style chain. It's hard to describe. Actually, I think I still got the chunk. I think it's still in here. I don't remember what strap hopper I threw it in. Was it that one? I think it's that one. That one. Yeah. This is the original chain. But it was just all random shit hodgepodge together. But because this chain is actually, the links are shorter, rather than putting 8 links in like the book said, I had to put 7 links in, but that worked out perfect. So now I got full travel out of the cutter bar, which is nice. I got the header height working. At least it works sitting here on the concrete. We'll have to see if it works in the field, and we'll have to see if I even like it, because if I don't like it, I'll probably just take the cable off and put the lockout back on the valve so I can't throw it into detent by accident, and might just run it like I've always ran it. Just, I don't know, we'll have to see if I like it, because obviously it's automatic header height, but it ain't like the electronic automatic header height we got now that's super duper sensitive. So we'll just have to see if I like it. But anyway, I got that on, that's ready to go. Although now that I got the cutter bar dropped where it should be, I need to readjust my snouts because they're held up. Need to check the chain tension on the other side of the head because I know, or for the auger drive and all that stuff, because I noticed a couple of them were drooping. I got the belts on for the chopper and they fit. Ended up being C148s. They're best Torx. I've never heard of that before, but they're made in Indonesia, which I guess is better than China. But I got them from a place called V Belts for Less, just the letter V, Belts for Less. And both those belts were $55 and some change shipped to the house, so they are kind of soft. I'm thinking they're probably going to stretch a little bit, although being double drive, I don't think it'll be too bad. So I pulled the trigger on some cheap-ass belts because I didn't know exactly what length I needed. So now that I know what length I need, if these things stretch and turn out to be shit, I can actually just call and get some decent Gates belts or something. But now I know what size I need anyway. But they're not tensioned up yet because I have to make these, or make something equivalent to them. Where did I put them? Right there. These are the original draw bolts for the belt tension on that, and the nuts were so rusted I tried heating them and I'd get them to turn a little bit back and forth, but then they tried to gall, so I just cut the bastards off. Plus this one was starting to rust. It's getting pretty thin right there. I was worried it was going to break, so I'm just going to make some new ones up real quick. Probably just going to take a piece of flat stock, punch a hole in it for the bolt, mill a little bit of mill a small slot in it to put the put a piece of threaded rod back into, weld it in, and yeah. So we're gonna do that real quick, and then we'll be able to get that get the chopper belts all tensioned up and go from there. Alright, so here's what I ended up with. I just welded them on the top side, that way they sit flat on the bracket, but those just go right here. And you draw that shaft back and that tightens these belts up, and then you tighten up the drive belt with the pulleys there. So I'm gonna get that done real quick. And go back to the head. All right, chopper belts are tight. Tension the chains on the head. Actually, the one thing I do still have to do is I probably need to drop this a link, although that might be a two-person job. Maybe. Let's see here real quick. Yep, I might have to wait till Dad gets back to doing that. That's gonna be... I'm gonna hold that, and I'm gonna have to undo the chain, and yeah, that's gonna be a little bit of a chore. Because I can unbolt it, but then it's still gonna take two people to get the spring back in and get everything. Yeah, that's a two-person job. So, all I got left to do is probably adjust these guys down one link. But all the chains are oiled, I greased everything. Engine oil's been changed, air filter's been serviced. Yeah. And that chopper runs quiet as shit. I was impressed. I was wondering how bad the balance was gonna be on it. With all that being said, I do believe we can safely say, even though it took about 2 weeks longer than I expected it to, we are ready to cut beans. Thank God. So, with that being said, I guess that's it for this one. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one, because I gotta get this video up and go start raking hay.